especially minorities, we are so creative, and there's so many things that we can offer to our community, and it can start change to where our children should. See, God said, leave an inheritance for your children's children. And if you listen to what God said, I'm going to give you a land that could be for your children's children. In the Old Testament, God talked about that when he talked to Moses and them. He let them know that I'm going to leave you an inheritance. So we must be able to create businesses that can go on and on and on. And people will say, oh, my kids are messing up. No, they won't. If you train them in this business, don't force them into this business. Because if you have 5 children, the 4 may not want to be interested. But don't give up because the baby's in sick. Let the baby walk with you. And if it's not your children, it may be your nieces or your nephews. I believe in proprietorship. I believe that we can be more conquerors of our neighborhood if we take back our neighborhoods by owning and placing businesses in our neighborhoods. Because if you got a business here and someone else,
God bless you. No, that's okay.
And we all are in this community, even the younger kids are going to say, well, that's my grandfather's place, and that's my aunt's place, and this is my uncle's place. We're not going to destroy it. We're going to keep our neighborhood built. We can keep our neighborhood built. Prime example of this community here, the Mount Pleasant community, every spring, Mr. Reuter, Rover Reuter, all these sewer companies and plumbing companies made so much money in this area because of the sewage problem with the tree roots growing through. Why isn't there any black plumbers anymore around with a storefront, with a few vans parked outside that we can say, okay, here, this gentleman is coming and we're going to use him. He did a good job, and refer him on and on and on. And that's a problem that we have. And some of us have made bad names for businesses. That's why we don't trust one another. But I'm just a firm believer in self-proprietorship, because I can't work for no one else. Because I'm going to come and I'm going to want to know what the boss knows, and then what the head person knows. Then I'm going to see if I can try and do the same thing. And if not, do it better. But I believe that if we raise our kids and teach our kids how to be leaders and how to start your own and let God lead the way for you, if he can part the Red Sea and make it dry, if he can bring us out of slavery and bring a black president in office, what do you think he can do with a business?
And work it out. And you talked about the babies and the kids. I love the children's. What are some, when you talk about this community, like, what do you see for Mount Pleasant, like some different things over here in Mount Pleasant that could be done as far as entrepreneurial type stuff?
Well,
or just ideas?
Well, first of all, there is no more, there aren't any role models. There isn't anyone to look up to on a positive note. There is no discipline. I used to hear my elders say that if they got in trouble, that the whole street would whoop them and everything. That's been thrown out the window. That's a tradition that, I hate to say it, but I don't see it coming back just because of the stipulations of disciplining the child. And that's one thing that's just sad.
That's very sad.
And we could watch a kid do something and won't say anything, whereas before, a child would look around before they did something to make sure someone wasn't watching. And it's sad because we don't care, but this is our future. The future coming up has failed out so bad. We don't have any type of entrepreneur programs. We don't have anybody letting some young people hang around their businesses and taking them under their wing and molding them. You know, you hear somebody say, my father, my father, my father, and it wouldn't actually be their biological father, but because the boy or girl didn't have a father, this person took them under the wing as a child and showed them the ropes of businesses. You take, for instance, some of your backyard mechanics, some of your bricklayers, the masons, some of your carpenters, and things of that nature. You don't see any of that. But then also at the same time, we don't have anything coming from the city, the state, or the government to where we can have an entrepreneurial program to teach these youngsters how how to do these things. There are no apprentice programs. There isn't anything positive to offer to our children in the community. And we sit back and we let it go. And I'm a victim of it also because I haven't done anything about it. But this is something that I'm working with, and I hope that God will bless me to be able to do something that we may be able to change these things around.
Yeah, because you said you don't see some of the old stuff coming back where the community is a part of disciplining the kids and doing things together. You don't see that coming back?
The reason why I don't see it coming back is because the community is scared.
Yeah.
The community is scared of our youth. And our youth don't respect their parents.
Well, you're right.
So if they don't have any respect for their parents, it's very hard to gain respect from them and you're someone outside of their household. Now, it's possible that you can. It takes a lot of love, a lot of patience, and a lot of courage. And that's something that this community lacks a lot of, because we can see something happening and just ride past like it's not my child or it doesn't have anything to do with me, and I'm going to leave it alone. And that's just one of the problems where we fail, because we don't have any strong males to where people respect them. Because I see now that a male figure could tell a child something, tell a young man something, he looks at the woman to see if it's okay before he moves forward to what the man said. And we've seen that inside the church. And it's that do we have tunnel vision? Are we just looking straight ahead? Do we see the surroundings? Do we look at anything? Just look at it. It's plain and simple.
That's interesting. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about that point you just said about if you tell a child to do something, a man tell a child, they look at the mom. Is that because the dads aren't there, so mom is controlling everything, so they're like, who is this guy? Or even if it's your dad, you're still looking for mom to tell you, instead of when your father get home, dad's going to handle all of that. It's not like that. I hadn't noticed that.
It's like that. It's like that.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep. Because when, dad is it.
And that's how it's supposed to be. Because I know my mom told me, I'm telling your father when he get home.
That's it.
Well, you want me to clean up my room?
I'll do whatever.
You want me to take some trash out?
That's right.
You can do all that, but I'm still telling your father when he gets home. But because the male figure has been so downgraded, because they haven't shown authority.
Even the young ones don't respect it. Even if the dad's in the house. Sometime.
I mean, because it doesn't have to be just a child. Well, who respects a man that don't even get out to go to work and who's not really taking care of anything?
Right.
And I know it's coming off from mom.
You're right. No, you're right.
So he can't tell me anything.
That's deep. For a young black man to see that in another older black man, that's deep. You can't tell me nothing.
Can't tell me nothing. Who are you?
Mama
you
going
all
out.
Day. You haven't done nothing. Mama pay all the bills. She cook. She clean. You just here.
That's so deep, dude. But that's terrible. That's a terrible example.
And it's the truth.
You're right.
The only man that I ever met that caused me trouble was me. I never met a man that caused me more problems than myself. Because I allowed myself to get into them problems. There was choices and decisions I could have made, but I didn't. Even if someone called me out the house to go do something I knew was wrong, I made the decision to go with them when I could easily say no. So nobody gave me a hard time with myself.
That's profound stuff right there. But you're right. It's the decisions and stuff that we make.
I mean, see, one of the things about me is I say things that people are scared to say, and I bring out the facts that people look over because they don't want to speak on. And that's just how it is. We've all made mistakes. We've all made bad decisions. But can we correct them? And how do we correct them? Do we, once we get on our feet, tell our children, hey, this is where dad messed up at, and this is how dad was. Dad don't want you to be like this, but dad is going to try and do the best that he can, because we can't make up for old times. We cannot make up for the old times. We can only just do for what we have time to do that's left. And that's to set a good example. Because, hey, if my dad wasn't around for 5 or 6 years, but then he came around, and when he came around, I see a good man who's been taking care of his business since he's been around, I respect it more than a guy that's just sitting here every day not doing anything.
Even if he is dead.
Even if he is dead. I don't respect a man who just won't work, go get him something to drink, and he been sitting here all day. It's just certain things that you just don't do. We never saw coming up. You always saw a man working. I don't care what he did. If he went to go cut grass, he did something and took care of them. Things got bad. Women look at the man as the provider and the protector. So now we're leaning at the woman to be the provider. And some of us lean on to be the protector.
That's a whole paradigm shift of, and that's just so wrong. It's so backwards. How do you get back to the way it's supposed to be?
It's going to take a whole lot of prayer and a whole lot of work. But just because you're over the age of 21 doesn't mean you're a man.
Is it because the black man's been beat down, or is it just, I don't have to, I don't want to, kind of like the breakdown in the generation?
There's no pride. Here's the thing I say, and people use this excuse, oh, the white man held me down, the white man did this. And here I'm here to tell you this. The white man ain't did nothing but made us stronger. Made us stronger than what we were. See, God said we're more than conquerors. So, with that, I can strive, because if we were able to make it out of slavery, where we watch our wives be beat and raped, and watch our brothers and fathers be killed, and not just shot in the head and it's over with, but tortured to death. If we can make it through all that, and they let us go as free men, ain't nothing to stop you and hold you back. Now, true enough, in today's society, it is hard to get a job. It is hard. Because the restrictions they put on gentlemen who have felonies and things of that nature. But majority of the guys that sit around and don't do nothing, they're not the ones that are former convicts. They're not the ones who's been convicted of anything. They're just lazy. Because a guy who was incarcerated and does not want to go back to jail and does not want to live a criminal lifestyle, he's going to go and sell himself to a job so he can get a job and he can get a resume together, he can get some experience under himself. So there's no excuse about anybody else. You just blame yourself.
Interesting.